That's a good point. Maybe there's something a bit more interesting, or maybe even a bit more noble about a gangster because there's a code there rather than just a crazy person, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And no matter how incredible their, I mean, like you said, Phil Spector's contribution to music, the wall of sound, is like every time you hear one of those, great fucking Diana Ross songs or something, I mean, his ability to mix was, not unparalleled, but he's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing I was going to say is that we discussed politics earlier, and I don't want to get into politics, but I don't know about you, but I'm really waiting for the former president's Phil Spector without his wig moment. I'm really, really waiting for that.
What moment is that? At risk of sounding uncultured. I don't know
there's when Phil came in, when they finally, took him in to go to jail, they, took his wig off him.
Oh, he usually had a wig on.
Yeah, just crazy like Afro wig. You know?
Okay.
And they took it from him, and he just, he looked like exactly what he was. This kind of Gollum-esque creature. Who managed to, hide under the misty mountains in his recording studio for, God knows how many years. Yeah.
Dude, I don't know what it is, but I'm not sure if you have the same impulse, but I do. I've identified an impulse within me that when someone has a reference that I don't get, my natural impulse is to be like, oh, yeah. And like, play along with it as opposed to asking what it is. So I've literally trained myself to be like, no, ask what that is so you can know,
Absolutely, man. And particularly in the field that we're in, comic books and weird fiction and stuff like that. There's so many different references, and the farther along we go on the timeline with the amount of content there is, there's, the number of references that get thrown at you become, are exponential.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And there's just like, there's this kind of like secret language right now on Twitter where you log on and you see people just talking about things that you don't even know what they're talking about, dude. I spend so long in the past that is, someone would see like a subtweet about someone and I'd be like, ooh, who's that about? And I would just search and look into it and fall down a hole. And then by the end of it, I spent 45 minutes on a thing I don't even care about. So I'm just like, damn, dude, that was a huge catalyst for me to get off Twitter. And I'm on Twitter in the sense that you can see my ad there, but I just don't read tweets anymore,
Yeah, I don't blame you. And you're certainly more prominent in the business than I am by any means, and I could, it's like, some of the people are just some people are so willfully dense. And also there's people on it who are not just willfully dense, but are actively, actively pushing an agenda, that and not arguing in good faith. And that's the big problem with discourse, is that it's not so much that, can't we all, agree, or can we all get along? It's that, it's that in general in the right now in this country, there's a certain side that doesn't argue in good faith. Yeah,
I mean, to me in general, just social media as a whole is just a hellscape. I see people who are dear friends of mine, just they're bullies on the internet. And I just, it's, as my mom says about certain things that she'll see that she doesn't like, she goes, it's not for me, So that kind of shit is not for me.
That's excellent. My mom is also, somebody, she would always say to me, people aren't for hitting, and she always instilled in me to, try and walk in another person's shoes and not to, poke fun at those who are different, You know,
definitely.
You know, knock wood for that. But all right. So anyway, Godzilla versus Kong. From watching the trailer, basically, it seems like the government agency that John Goodman was a part of in Kong Skull Island, you know, they've got Kong prisoner and they're taking him to fight Godzilla, who's evidently gone rogue. There's a little adorable little girl who Kong has got like a telepathic relationship with, which is a big kaiju trope. And that's one of the things I really like about this is that's, you know, the really good classic Godzilla movies. They always make kids important to the plot.
Yeah.
You know, because that's their audience and that should be their audience. You know, like I said, you know, suckered me in.
I have the most basic questions about this because I haven't
Lay them on me.
So is this part of a franchise that's been going? Because obviously Godzilla and King Kong are icons, but is this specific incarnation a series right now, or is it just a revitalization? What is this specific one?
This is Legendary Pictures is doing. They got the rights from Toho to make King Kong, make Godzilla films. And I guess I don't know. I guess they also got the rights to King Kong as well. I forget who has the King Kong property, but it's weird because Toho, you know, made Godzilla versus Kong in the 60s and stuff. I don't know if Toho actually bought the rights to Kong. I know that they didn't, but either way, they call it the Monsterverse. So they're these updated American produced versions of the Godzilla films, because there's throughout the history of Godzilla, there's been different eras where they've made the films, and those eras are named coinciding to whoever sat on the throne of Japan at the time.
Okay.
So I believe like the Showa era is the start of the Godzilla franchise. But basically, yeah, each era of Godzilla was named after a different emperor of Japan, whoever happened to be sitting on the throne at the time.
Gotcha.
And so this is like a new franchise. Like they redid all the Godzilla movies in the 90s through the 2000s, and those are a lot of fun. And then this is like a new franchise that started out with Godzilla, and then Kong Skull Island, Godzilla King of Monsters, and now Godzilla versus Kong.
Oh, wow. So they're pretty deep into it.
Yeah.
So is this the same Godzilla that faced off with Heisenberg?
Yes, that's that Godzilla. Chunky Cankles.
Gotcha.
Godzilla.
It's coming together. Yeah,
so now and they there's a couple of things they tease in this. They tease Mechagodzilla, and who's basically just giant robot Godzilla.
Yeah.
To fight because evidently Godzilla is being controlled, and that's another classic kaiju movie. Aliens are mind controlling the kaiju to bust up Tokyo, bust up New York City, bust up London. That's a classic shtick that they have. And then, so the fight looks really great. At one point, Kong is evidently wielding an axe that is made from the bone of another kaiju and one of Godzilla's dorsal plates.
I saw it. It seemed that was interesting. It seemed to suggest a flashback to a war between Kong species and Godzilla species.
Yes, that was touched upon in the earlier films. That the Titans kind of had been warring, and that was what. Not to give away spoilers, but that was the end of the last Godzilla movie. Was basically Godzilla showing up and just kicking ass, and all of these other kaiju waking up all around the world, and kind of them basically recognizing Godzilla as their emperor, as their king. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I've loved it. I know some people who have, been critical of it, but like friends of mine who are, diehard, Godzilla fans from sitting around the day after Thanksgiving and watching the film festival on WOR. We're all really happy with it. One of the biggest points of contention I have between me and my good buddy Rico Perez, who is one of my sometime co-hosts here, he thinks I don't know what I'm talking about because I did not like Shin Godzilla, which was the most recently Japanese produced Godzilla film, which came out a couple of years ago. And I had a problem with it. It's the thrilling story of watching people run from conference room to conference room.
Yeah.
Because it's a political satire of Japan's reaction to the Fukushima crisis. How basically there were all these fucking bureaucrats are like, well, we can't do this. We can't do this. We don't want to do this, and meanwhile, people were dying.
That kind of reminds me, I keep thinking about when we're going to start to see a huge influx of films, like monster films, just based on what we're going through now. It's, I'm not looking forward to that.
There's already been one, I forget who was producing it, but of course it's, one of these right-wing Hollywood guys, might be Michael Bay, who's doing a COVID lockdown. It's like, it's COVID 23. So, it's like, all right, so it takes place in 2024.
Yeah.
Obviously takes place after the socialist authoritarian nightmare that we're going to endure for the next couple of years. I'm really bummed out about getting another $300 a week unemployment benefits. That sucks.
Yeah. I don't know much about Michael Bay. I didn't know all that, but that's funny.
Yeah, he's also behind 13th Hour, which was the Benghazi film that Emily Blunt's husband is in.
Jim Halpert?
Yes, Jim Halpert. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. John Krasinski.
He's a handsome guy.
Oh, certainly is, but I think we're all very happy that he did not get cast as Captain America.
I would take him as Reed Richards, though, for sure.
Everybody's been saying that, and I understand why people could say him as Reed Richards and Emily Blunt as Sue Storm. My real stunt casting for that movie, though, is I want Channing Tatum as Ben Grimm because I think
I think Channing Tatum's very funny.
He's a great actor. He really is, and he looks like Ben Grimm. Yeah. I could see him wearing the little Tom Landry style fedora and the college sweater. I can see it plain as day.
Dude, I was just watching clips with Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill from 21 Jump Street. And they're so funny. That is a great casting choice.
Thank you. And you know what? I think I do need to go back and watch 21 Jump Street because it got lambasted when it came out, but I think it's probably got a lot of good laughs in it.
Yeah, I mean, the critics are always wrong. There's never, as far as comedy goes, there's never a situation where critics are correct. They don't go into the film looking to see what's funny. They go into the film looking to tear it apart. There's nothing that a critic can say to me about comedy. It's funny or it's not funny.
Yeah, absolutely. You either get it or you don't.
Definitely.
All right, so that was our segment on Near Mint to Poor Condition. Godzilla comes out next month in theaters. Please don't go to a theater. Please don't go to a theater. And on HBO Max. All right, so we'll be back after the jump with Pat Chan. This is the Literary Nerds.